multiple times, numerous times in theater and gallery spaces, museums. Lisa Eden. She will explore the word transphysicality. Each artist explores a word, and she's got a lot of courage for it. Lisa.
Hey, I'm naked. Look, it's a naked woman. It's a postmenopausal naked woman. Go knock yourself out. Hi, everybody. I am so thrilled to be here. I just want to kind of let you know what the thinking behind this project is. First of all, this is totally inspired by Coca's curatorial statement, and I'm doing this the first time, and I wouldn't be doing it if she hadn't asked me, and I'm so thrilled to be here, and thank you. One of the things that I've been thinking about lately is that I think one of the roles of art is for us as humans to resolve the dissonance between the mind and the body. Like, I think as humans, there's some really conscious and unconscious tension about we are these minds, but we're in this body, and the body doesn't live forever, and we're all like kind of a little bit freaked out about it, and I don't think that we really know how to process that. So in thinking about that, that's why I came up with this idea, so what I'm going to do now is I've picked out, as we go through time, we live in our bodies, and we have the same body. But the body changes, it ages, but a lot of other things happen to it, things out of our control, and it has its own memories. So what I'm going to do tonight is show you my ass. But also what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a little tour of my body chronologically and show you the most important scars that I have. Okay. So we're going to start with, first of all, I'm 61. I was born in 1956. So we're going to start with the earliest scars that were important to me, and that's from when I was 8 years old in 1964. And those scars are this one here and this one here. So what happened was we had just moved from New York City to the suburbs, started kind of learning how to ride a bike again. I wasn't allowed to ride in the street. My older brother and his friend were going really fast down a hill, and they were about to go into the street, and I slid off the back of my bike, and I got dragged about a block, and I was a bloody mess, and some nice lady picked me up in her car and took me home, and then when I got in front of my mother, she was like, holy shit. So that was the earliest scar that that has really stuck with me. Then, when I was 18 in 1974, I got this scar, and this scar is from having my ovary removed. I went to the gynecologist for the first time, and they found a big cyst, and I wound up having to have my ovary removed. It was very shocking to me. I have a very positive memory of the experience, however, because I hated being in the tiny apartment with my family, and I got a whole week in the hospital where everybody was nice to me. So this is very positive when I think about this experience. Then the next one would be this one, and this one was from, it's really funny because if you know me now, I never cook. But there was this period in my 20s where I was obsessed with cooking. And I would have dinner parties. My husband doesn't believe this, but it's true. And I remember very clearly because I was wearing like these rust-colored leggings, and I dropped like some hot lasagna on my leg, and the burn through the leggings got so infected that I wound up having to like get antibiotics and stuff. So this scar is kind of the memory of that phase of my life, which was really kind of another person when I think about it. And now we're on to this scar here, which was from 2007. I got diagnosed at age 51 with stage 0 breast cancer. And I'm very grateful that I have not really had any real problems with it since I had radiation, but I didn't have to have chemotherapy or anything like that. And hi, Eva. And but you know what really has stuck in my mind, and I was thinking about this today because I get really angry every time I think about this. What really traumatized me about this experience was that I was an art director in an ad agency. I was actually a creative director in charge of a lot of stuff. And they were trying to fire me knowing that I had cancer. So I would go to like radiation, you know, I'd have to go every day for like a few weeks. And then I would have these meetings during that time with, you know, the head of HR and my boss. And I would be saying things like, they would be critical of my job, which I don't, you know, come on, it wasn't, you know, I worked hard. I was okay, not that bad. And so I was saying to them, I would try and like bring up the idea of cancer to see if they would flinch. And that was how I got back at them. I'd say, well, you know, I'm doing the best I can. You know, if I didn't have to go to radiation every day because of my cancer, I think it would be better. So that's, and now that was 07, and now we're up to 2013. This was a fun one. This one here, this is the one scar that I live with that bothers me the most because it's on my face. And I don't know if you can really, it probably doesn't bother anybody else, but to me, I feel like it makes me less attractive. Besides all the aging and all the other scars and everything else. But it bothers me personally, I'll tell you that. And what happened was, I was in Amsterdam with my husband. We weren't high or anything at the time, and I was crossing the street and I got hit by a bicyclist. And I remember it so clearly because I remember that moment of impact, and I can still hear the bicyclist saying, "Oh my, I'm sorry." And then I landed on my head, and there was a hospital thing, and you know, emergency room, ambulance, and it was swollen like this. So I'm lucky that this was the only thing. And then a year later, I went to have this looked at, and then I also at the same time had this big brown spot here, and I wound up getting my insurance. They used my insurance and they burned it off, which made this whole other scar and this whole big, it actually erupted into this big gooey blister. And I remember, this is what I remember about this. I went to an art opening with a Band-Aid taped over it because it was so gross. And I was talking to another artist, William Powhida, I'll never forget it. I don't know if you know him or not, he's nice. And I'll never forget it because we were just chatting at this art opening, and all of a sudden this goo, like I just felt the whole thing like just open up, and I had to excuse myself, and I told him and his wife later. It was a good story. So anyway, I just want to say thanks for listening. I feel like that was pretty. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa Levy. Thank you again for this honest and wonderful testimonial of life and the body. 5-minute break. Next is Kay-Joan Thomas, who will be performing an original piece for us. Okay, do you want some music? Entertaining in between. Okay, 5 minutes. Get yourself a glass of wine or drink, and go around.
Okay.